Let us transform our meditation posture by using the shoulder blade method. The shoulder blades, also known as the scapula, are the great big triangle-shaped bones of our upper back. So there are two extremes in a happy medium. One extreme is to close our scapula, stick out our chest, lift our chin, and compress our spine. It's not sustainable, and it will put, believe it or not, pressure on your hip joints. I learned this the hard way. The other extreme is to open our scapula up and to allow our profile to describe the letter C. And this too can put strain on the hip flexors. So we want to find a happy medium between the two. The scapula have been likened to the wings of a vulture protecting its lunch from its hungry comrades. The key to adjusting our scapula is our chin. Point our chin up, we can feel our scapula close. Point our chin down, we can feel our scapula open. And so we want to adjust the pitch of our chin to influence not just the scapula, but the spine in its entirety. Noticing how this feels in our hips, in our inner hips, in the front of our hip flexors, and with the upper back. And so I have to get loosey-goosey here. We have to exercise the courage to experiment with our own bodies and see what is most comfortable in the moment and what is most sustainable. One of the nice things is that from moment to moment, we make, whether we know it or not, we make micro adjustments. And this is one of many which will help us to experience more sustainable meditation. So I've mentioned several times that Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything is rubbish, including people, including meditation teachers. These rubbish meditation teachers are the ones who instruct their students to indulge their tendencies to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. They will have people sit in torturous, uncomfortable postures, all the while lying to them that this is somehow purifying. No, it's not. We evolved the capacity, our bodies evolved the capacity to perceive pain as a survival mechanism. If our body thinks something is painful, then evolutionarily speaking, it would be wise to sidestep that pain. And that's why we have all these different variables to play with, the variables of our legs, the variables of our hands, the variables of our vertical traction, the variables of the pitch of our chest, and the placement of our scapula. This is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For multiple decades, I spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. It is Qui-Gon Jinn early Tuesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. Now, the moment you have a specific question about the philosophies or techniques that support meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about once every 14 minutes or so. By playing with the Pasadi Mudra or meditation gesture, we experience five benefits. Or is it four? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five benefits. Number one, our subtle energies are drawn to the crown of our head. Number two, at night when we use this gesture, as we lay in bed, it makes it easier for us to fall asleep. Number three, the more we play with this gesture, the more likely we are to remember it when death comes for us, ensuring that our transition will be more peaceful. Four, this gesture is extraordinarily useful when we find ourselves on the precipice of a meltdown. And number five, as adopting this gesture helps us keep track of our first solitary repetition of the essence of mindfulness and meditation. What is the essence of mindfulness? To silently and mentally recite the verb watch as we passively notice air enter our nostrils. What is the essence of meditation? To silently and mentally recite the verb rest as we passively notice air exit our nostrils. We do not do this 24/7. It's enough to do it once every 12 hours or so, for as many minutes as feels comfortable. And now, let us explore the ease of the Pasadi Mudra. It is as simple as using the tip of our left index finger to support the lower knuckle of our right index finger, palms up in our lap. And so now let us perform our first solitary repetition of watch rest. How are we going to keep track of our next dozen repetitions of watch rest? To do that, we draw our attention to our right hand. Every time we silently and mentally recite the verb watch as we breathe in, we advance our right thumb across the sets of creases of our fingers, beginning with our right little finger's lower set of creases and working our way over to our right index finger's upper set of creases. Together as a team, let us practice now. To keep track of our next solitary repetition of watch rest, we touch the tip of our left thumb to the lower set of creases of our left little finger. To count our next 12, to count our next dozen repetitions of watch rest, we return to our right hand. To keep track of our next solitary repetition, we advance our left thumb to the next set of creases. And now that you have a very good idea of how to count individual repetitions as well as dozen repetitions, let us rest our hands palms up in our lap, for that is certainly much more comfortable. If this feels a trifle overwhelming, allow me to reassure you that repetition is the mother of skill. Come to these live streams once every 12 hours, and within a week or two, you can master this system. So, to elaborate on the placement of the hands, it can be directly over the genitals or a little bit before the shin. That play in hand placement adds a dimension of adjustment to our sitting posture. To track our second collection of 13 solitary repetitions of watch rest and 13 dozen repetitions of watch rest, we slide the tip of our left index finger along our right index finger till we come to its middle knuckle. And then we start, and then we start again. Remember, during each inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system is wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice whatever comes up. Be it a perception, an emotion, an intention, a thought, a memory, or an imagining. Regardless of whether that which comes up is external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque, convenient or arduous. Every time we exhale, our parasympathetic nervous system is already wired to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel at least a little, at least a trifle, less stressful, less permanent, less defining, and less solid. And at least for a moment until our next inhalation, when the cycle begins afresh. And all this is encapsulated with the two verbs, watch and rest. Excuse me. Brace yourself for a change. We're changing from white watch, from Pasadi Mudra, and from the crown of the head, to teal feel, Sati Mudra, and the chest. Assuming Sati Mudra is as simple as using the tip of our left middle finger to support the lower knuckle of our right middle finger, palms up in our lap. The essence of mindfulness in this exercise is to silently and mentally recite the verb feel every time we feel our chest swell with breath. And the essence of meditation is to silently and mentally recite the verb rest each time we feel our chest subtly sink as gently we exhale. Reciting feel and rest in harmony with our inhalation and exhalation constitutes solitary repetition. This gesture marks our first solitary repetition. To keep track of our next dozen repetitions, we draw our attention to our right hand. Every time we silently and mentally recite the verb feel as we inhale, we advance our right thumb across the sets of creases of our fingers, from our right little fingers, lower set of creases, to our right index fingers, higher set of creases, together. To track our next solitary repetition, we touch the tip of our left thumb to the lower set of creases of our left little finger. To track our next dozen repetitions, we return to our right hand. To track our next solitary repetition, we advance our left thumb to the next set of creases. And now that you've got a good idea of how to count, of how to alternate between counting solitary repetitions and dozen repetitions, let us rest both hands palms up in our lap. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. For Meditate Like a Jedi is made possible thanks to the generosity of viewers just like you. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's desk practice of Meditate Like a Jedi. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.